Chili DeCastro rants about mentally ill people as he celebrates his birthday alone in Duncan, Oklahoma. If he's found a great place to hang out in Oklahoma, why is he always alone and ranting about police? Frauditor Troll gets served. Blackheart Knight gets served. Lee Rapkin waives service. Is there something to these annoying lawsuits after all? You be the judge. Floyd Wallace gets pickpocketed and then has his equipment stolen in Cali, Colombia. Oh no, whatever will he do? Will he finally leave the country to return to see his possible new baby? Chili DeCastro does the unthinkable and blasts Charlie Kirk's widow for cop-sucking. Is it too much too soon to be this horrible? Plus, Regan Benson goes to jail. Does anyone care? I'm your humble newsreader, Pants. You've been waiting for my return for oh so long. Well, I'm back, baby, and I'm inviting you over to enjoy my velvety red shag carpeted rumpus room as we expose ourselves to the depths of auditing insanity. Meow. It was a happy birthday for Jose Chili DeCastro on Thursday, as he was alone and live streaming for 90 minutes while accusing various members of the Duncan, Oklahoma police force of being mentally disabled and corrupt. The amped-up diminutive YouTuber sat in a hotel room in Duncan by himself, addressing his fans about the corruption he was seeing in Duncan. He started his broadcast by telling of the stories he was hearing about Duncan police, adding stories he'd heard without verification to the mythos he's making about the town. Canine dog handler Nathan Hicks, in DeCastro's new mythology, was in a relationship with a longtime girlfriend before he had what DeCastro said was an inappropriate affair with a fellow police officer. That officer, now his wife, Christian Hicks, again, according to DeCastro, murdered canine officer Ringo in a shooting incident that he was told was investigated by police and did not result in charges against either Hicks. Calling on his background in working out, from observing brief videos of Nathan Hicks, DeCastro confidently reporting that Hicks was on the juice and was taking anabolic steroids. Strangely, he went on to criticize Hicks's body, saying that Hicks needed to do more leg days and that Hicks had the mind of a 3-year-old, before returning to the alleged police corruption in Duncan. DeCastro lingered on the obvious corruption, pledging that the police may have been done with the investigation into Ringo's death, but he wasn't. He'd hound the Hicks until he found justice for Ringo. Restating his hatred for canine officers, who he claims are the cruelest and most corrupt of all police officers in the process. Turning his attention to Officer Darius McReynolds, the person that DeCastro came to investigate, DeCastro used a slur for the mentally challenged. He said that McReynolds was touched and on the spectrum, and that the condition has left McReynolds a creepy stalker. DeCastro said that he was an expert in mental health issues, as he himself was on the spectrum, and again implied that he could diagnose others by just looking at them. He went on to play a video he said was recorded with Heather Chandler at the pool hall, that outside of which she's now been arrested twice for what she calls fake DUIs. A man and a woman with faces blurred said that they had encounters with McReynolds in the past, and that McReynolds followed the woman to her house and pulled her over in her driveway. DeCastro claimed that this was a pattern of stalking by McReynolds, and repeatedly played the video of McReynolds pulling over Chandler to indicate that Chandler was one of many supposed stalking victims of the officer. The diminutive YouTuber added that he had heard that McReynolds was also creepy on dates, taking women to a local park and demanding oral sex from them as the date progressed. Promising that he'd be in the town for the long haul, DeCastro made overtures to Ironton, Ohio, where he claimed that he personally saw to the firing of the police chief and various officers in the town's police force. DeCastro had ultimately fled Ironton after not showing for a court hearing on charges of trespassing. He later unsuccessfully sued the town over the trespassing charges and is currently attempting to relitigate the dismissed case in a second lawsuit. The YouTuber still has an active warrant in Ohio for skipping his court hearing. Attendance to DeCastro's live streams since he's been in Duncan have also nosedived, either due to lack of interest or to an algorithm changed by YouTube. DeCastro had been peaking at up to 2,000 concurrent viewers and over 100,000 overall views of his streams after they aired, but had only managed to peak at a few hundred concurrent viewers and an overall numbers peaking in the low tens of thousands. DeCastro ended the broadcast by pledging to get a workout before he had several more interviews about the corruption he was allegedly seeing in Duncan to fill the rest of his birthday celebration. In a significant blow to those who thought that Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova's lawsuit against Jonathan Frauditor Troll Who Know would go nowhere, United States Magistrate Judge Virginia K. DiMarchi ordered on Friday that Cordova could provide service to Huno via email and certified mail. Cordova, represented by that Randall S., the unhinged attorney Newman Esquire, had asked the court to allow him to provide alternative service to Huno, as Huno provided an incomplete address in New York, where service was unsuccessfully attempted, and due to the fact that Huno later admitted to living in Canada. The address revealed by Huno's AdSense and YouTube channel data, as provided by Google/YouTube, also reflected an Ontario address for both Huno and partner Nico O'Heary. Judge DiMarchi ruled that Cordova, through Newman, had satisfied the need to provide alternate service via email. She ruled that Cordova could go forward with service to Huno via email, as long as a copy of the service was also sent to Huno via certified postal mail. The fact that the case is being allowed to move forward is a surprise to those who believed that the case would never move forward in an American court, as Huno had been known to reside in Canada. It is noted that Canada and the United States are both parties to the Hague Convention of the Service Board of Judicial and Extrajudicial Documents. That convention allows for defendants in participating countries to be served with lawsuits from the other countries taking part in the convention. When Huno signed his DMCA counterclaim to oppose the removal of his videos that used Cordova's works, he agreed to take part in any litigation that followed under YouTube's guidelines. YouTube requires that all litigation occur in the Northern District of California, where the company resides. The end result means that Huno, even though he is Canadian, has already agreed to accept service and participate in the litigation, despite it being in a court in the United States. Cordova's motion was not fully granted, as Judge DeMarchi ruled against service of California-based attorney Patrick Darcy, who had attempted to file a friend of the court brief on behalf of Huno, was unwarranted. Cordova was seeking to have Darcy served, despite Darcy not being a party to the lawsuit, as another means of notifying Huno of the lawsuit. Friday also saw the successful service of Anthony Blackheart Knight Gurkha by Attorney Newman's process server on behalf of the Helping Hands for Dignity coalition run by Regan Benson. Attorney Lee Rapkin, a Canadian attorney who initially filled out DMCA counter notices on behalf of the YouTuber known only as The Exposer, also waived service on Wednesday. She is currently being sued by Cordova's Executive Lens LLC, with Attorney Newman again representing Cordova. Following the successful service of Gurkha, Regan Benson posted the following to her YouTube channel's community page. "Stop stealing my content. It is very simple. If you want to use my content, ask first. Simple. If you decide to steal it and I tell you to take it down and you don't, there are now going to be consequences. It's not yours to take. Make your own and profit off of it. This idiot tried to avoid service with false address, potential perjury, after we gave him the opportunity to take my content down. Why is this not free speech issue? Because it's mine. I own it. Period. It's my platform, not yours. This funds my nonprofit. And what is most disgusting in all of it, the trolls that hide and think that creating fair use out of my content is to tell lies about me, my work, and disparage homelessness. Not to mention the incessant harassment they call for with their cult followers, which for me has been a gamut of calling the cops, swatting on me, IRS inquiries and responses I have to provide, Secretary of State responses I have to provide relating to my nonprofit. It is going to stop. I've learned in this process that others are making more money off my content than I am stealing my content. Make that make sense, YouTube. I am really grateful. Along came the DMCA lawyer. Y'all can go ahead and try to run from him, but you're not going to hide. He's no fucking around, and neither am I." Floyd Wallace's doomed trip to Cali, Colombia turned into a farce over the weekend, with suggestions that Wallace was robbed of camera equipment, pickpocketed by a date at a local farmer's market, and only had sex with one person while he was in the city. Wallace had been mentioning that he had a girl who wanted to hook up with him in Cali, Colombia for most of his stay in the country. In his own meandering way, Floyd indicated that he really wanted to hook up with the girl for sex, but wasn't thrilled with the actual travel to Cali, as he didn't like the city itself. According to Google, Cali is located in southwest Colombia, is Colombia's biggest city, and is known for the Cristo Rey statue, the Cali Zoo, and the La Tertulia Museum, all tourist attractions that Wallace would have no interest in visiting. Wallace held several fundraisers for his trip to Cali, always seeming to do nothing more than lie in bed and whine to actually earn the money he wanted to raise. On occasion, he said he had earned close to his goal, but by the next live stream, the goal would reset, and he would need to start over with a new fundraiser. As Wallace is a very sensitive man, it's hard to do direct reporting on him. If you are not present for his live streams, you run a 75% chance of missing the content. Wallace will rage quit streams without notice, and then make them private if he feels he has embarrassed himself enough to keep the stream from YouTube. It was on this jump cut that led us to Friday's live stream, where Wallace was at his hotel, now in Cali, explaining that he thought he had just been pickpocketed at a farmer's market, and the thief stole 300,000 pesos from him, or the equivalent of $77 in Friday's exchange rate. The YouTuber was on a date with a local girl who had agreed to film with him. They went to a local farmer's market and bought a bunch of fruit. They went back to the woman's place, and she was going to drop off the fruit, and they were going to go out to eat. While he was in her house, he discovered the money was missing. Wallace said that he does not carry a wallet because if he lost his wallet, he'd lose everything. Instead, he stuffs money in various pockets and never quite keeps track of it. While roughly 100,000 pesos was fine in one pocket, in another pocket, the 300,000 pesos was gone, and he wasn't sure if it was pickpocketed or if he dropped it. He said that he had situations where he had problems dropping money in the States, and always someone would find it and return it to him. He chastised the people of Cali as if he had dropped the money, someone should have returned it to him. Wallace also admitted that he had lost his Cash App card sometime in his Colombia trip. He played a video of the woman, who was in her early 20s and had black hair and tattoos on her hands, sitting in the back of the Uber on the ride to her place. She placed an orange and a small pineapple in her bag and seemed not that interested in interacting with Wallace from the 30 seconds of the video shown. It was then that Wallace's story changed. He now admitted that when he was waiting in the Uber for the woman to return, the Uber driver wanted to know why she was taking so long. Wallace discovered the money was missing, went into the house and confronted the woman, and ended the date. Wallace said that the woman was acting suspiciously after the event, as she did not return his calls or text messages after he accused her of stealing from him. He also said that he had told her to go away at one point, but still wanted to know why she wouldn't talk to him if she was innocent. Eventually, Wallace opened up a new fundraiser and earned roughly $30 towards the missing $77 by the end of the stream. Saturday's stream was more of the same, with Wallace now claiming that camera equipment went missing and that he was upset with the city. He said that the equipment contained memories that were more precious to him, but stopped short from saying that someone stole it from him. Wallace then began to critique the city of Cali, calling it a sleepy little town with major chain restaurants like Starbucks and Little Caesars, but the dating life sucked, as he was only able to have sex with one woman so far in his time in the city. He announced that racism was terrible in Cali, unlike other parts of Colombia, as he was ignored when ordering food at a restaurant, as the worker took the people standing behind him ahead of him when standing in line. Because of this mistreatment, his robbery, and his missing equipment, Wallace said he was uncomfortable about filming and would not be producing the content he had promised while in the city. Declaring that the women in Cali weren't worth his time for this reason, he announced that he was leaving tomorrow and would never come back unless he was paid by his viewers to return to the city. Wallace apparently was not bluffing about leaving, as Sunday night's stream title indicated that he was leaving the city, but was private before we had the opportunity to view it. It's unclear when Wallace is returning to the United States. Jose Chili DeCastro did the unthinkable on Saturday as he started his live stream with a full-throated attack on Erica Kirk, wife of slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk, moments after she had made a statement thanking police and rescue workers for their efforts to save her husband's life. Charlie Kirk was assassinated last week in front of a large group of college students at a speaking event at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. He was struck by a single bullet through the neck. Kirk's killing has ignited a backlash against those who would criticize Kirk, with those on the right, including President Donald J. Trump, holding Kirk as an American patriot and hero, and calling for a crackdown on liberal policies that led to the environment around the shooting. MSNBC personality Matthew Dowd was fired from his role on the network soon after Kirk's death for making less than a full-throated endorsement of Kirk as a patriot and hero based on backlash the network received on his comments. It was in this environment that DeCastro marched Saturday as he gave a running critique of comments made by Kirk's widow as she spoke. DeCastro explained that Kirk was a racist and a transphobe, but did not deserve to die for his beliefs. The diminutive YouTuber said that the only people who deserved the death penalty were those who were convicted of having forced inappropriate sexual relations with children, and those who caught on camera murdering others. As Erica Kirk began to speak, she referred to Charlie Kirk as her husband. DeCastro paused the video and snidely corrected the widow, stating that Charlie Kirk was her husband. When she thanked police and first responders, DeCastro again paused the video. He said that the police and rescue workers did not deserve thanks because they did not do anything to save Kirk's life. According to DeCastro, the bullet ricocheted off body armor worn by Kirk and struck him through the throat, killing him instantly. The police then bungled the capture of the suspect in the murder, who was seen on video running from the roof of a nearby building. Attacking Erica Kirk directly, he accused the widow of cop-sucking and said she couldn't wait to get out to pleasure the first responders by thanking them for the job that they failed to do in saving her husband. He said that Americans were indoctrinated into your brain and they were supposed to thank police and restated his beliefs that police officers were not the good guys. He then ranted that if a good police officer didn't immediately arrest a bad police officer, then the good officer was also bad. The YouTuber said that he always checked the hands of those who approached him for weapons, as he never fully trusted anyone. DeCastro, again alone in Duncan, Oklahoma, reasserted his beliefs that the procedures, policies, and protocols of police were bad and would be replaced once he became governor. He spent the rest of the live stream showing anti-police messages and continuing his criticism of Charlie Kirk. The YouTuber would also release a statement about Charlie Kirk. The other day, I made a post for Charlie Kirk. I was feeling emotional because I had just seen another human being kept blown away almost in real time. Let me be clear, Charlie Kirk and I completely disagreed on many topics. There was one thing I agreed with him about. Free speech must reign. And the moment we stop talking, we lose our humanity. Talk about civil war is ridiculous. It must stop. And it goes against everything Charlie Kirk stood for. Watch the short video clip of Charlie talking about exactly that. I believe that the murder of Charlie Kirk is the 9/11 for all influencers. Influencers, we must now watch our backs just a little closer. I suppose that emotion partially drove my eulogy for Mr. Kirk. The idea that people would kill him for the words that he spoke. Charlie was pro-genocide. He spoke of black people in such derogatory terms it was despicable. He hated trans people, and he was a blue-line cop sucker, and did not care what the shade of blue it was. Cops, FBI, ICE, whoever. Regardless, we can't kill each other because of what we say or what we support. That was what was driving my post the other day. Clearly, Mr. Kirk and I did not share the same views. My conservativeness pretty much ends with my gun rights and my love for country. Regardless of how strongly I disagreed with Charlie, he was right on free speech and not going to violence. I do not retract my previous statements about him. I want to be clear that we did not align in most ways. DeCastro has yet to offer an apology to Kirk's widow. Regan Benson live-streamed Sunday night as she went through the process of turning herself in for an outstanding warrant outside of the jail in downtown Denver. Benson was wanted on a warrant for violation of Colorado Revised Statute 189313, subsection 2.7. Personal information on the Internet. It is unlawful for a person to knowingly make available on the Internet personal information about a protected person or the protected person's immediate family if the dissemination of personal information poses an imminent and serious threat to the protected person's safety or the safety of the protected person's immediate family, and the person making the information available on the Internet knows or reasonably should know of the imminent and serious threat. As Benson described it, the infraction occurred on September 3rd, 2025, when she was attempting to live stream from the Commander Advisor Board meeting in Denver's District 3. Benson had not been informed that, due to the observance of Labor Day, the meeting was delayed until September 10th. Benson, undeterred by the cancellation, spent the rest of the evening filming herself drawing chalk art that targeted police. Among that artwork, she included the names and contact information of police command staff, along with creative artwork including her notations that various members of that staff had small sexual organs. On September 4th, Benson said that she received a privacy complaint from YouTube on the video of the incident, along with a timestamp indicating when the violation supposedly occurred. Benson reviewed the complaint and found nothing that was out of line at the timestamp. On September 9th, YouTube again contacted her and this time said that her video had been permanently removed from YouTube. A link was offered to her to review the video, and when she reviewed the video, 3 minutes had been removed by unknown parties. Later on the 9th, Benson was at an incident with police in Denver's District 4 when none of the officers would approach her or engage with her extensively. She thought it was odd, but did not think she had any outstanding warrants. She was later told by one of her attorneys on September 10th that there was a warrant out for her arrest, with details on the warrant coming in an email with the Denver Police Division Chief later confirming the warrant. After some back and forth with police, Benson made the decision to turn herself in, as bond would be set at her first appearance in front of a judge over the weekend. She also decided to turn herself in directly to jail, as turning herself in at a police district station would enable her to be arraigned faster. Benson ended one live stream and started another as she debated with her husband where to ultimately go to turn herself in. At the start of the second stream, she and her husband went around to the back of the jail as she placed a service call to Denver's police department that she was turning herself in. While she was waiting for Denver Metro Police to turn up, she was approached by a group of sheriffs from the jail who wanted to know what she was doing. She explained that she was turning herself in, and one of the officers escorted her to the front of the building, explaining that she could turn herself in at the desk in the lobby. As they fingerprinted Benson and verified her identity, a group of Denver Metro Police approached Benson and escorted her to a police car. The confused YouTuber started yelling to the sheriff, who had previously helped her, to inquire why Denver police were taking her out of the jail, and she received no response. Her husband continued recording as the officers put her in a squad car and drove off, with Benson promising that she had a big gun to represent her at the hearing. She was expected to be released on her own recognizance bond on Monday after her first appearance before a judge. A relative posted on her YouTube comments section that they had talked to her and she was in good spirits, and processing went smoothly. An update: Benson was released and live-streamed Monday evening. We'll have more details in the next issue of Auditing Insanity. We need your help. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, feeding the cats, defending ourselves from lawsuit threats, and writing news stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, you can do so via a donation to our PayPal, Cash App, or GoFundMe accounts. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch our videos from beginning to end, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.